times of crisis, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, is best known for assisting disaster-stricken communities. This is FEMA's most recognized mandate. Yet, FEMA does so much more. FEMA is helping communities across the country implement policies and promote practices to prevent or reduce damage from future disasters. FEMA has developed HAZUS, a software program using geographic information system technology to help communities understand their vulnerabilities. HAZUS is designed to estimate potential disaster impacts to a particular region. Using GIS, HAZUS maps and displays information about potential damage and loss. For earthquakes, floods, and hurricane winds, HAZUS combines engineering-based analyses with GIS technology to estimate damage and losses to buildings and infrastructure. HAZUS can assess the social impacts caused by these disasters, such as casualties and shelter requirements. HAZUS includes national databases that provide statistics on the population, buildings, and infrastructure exposed to specific hazards. Users can readily customize these databases with local data. Disaster impacts can be prevented or reduced. Private sector enterprises, such as Wells Fargo, have used HAZUS to develop business continuity plans in the event of an earthquake. By adding their own data about buildings and employees to HAZUS, these companies developed analyses that included site risk assessments, mitigation, and validation of business continuity plans, response planning, and customer impact. In 2001, King and Pierce counties in Washington state used HAZUS in a regional project to learn more about the earthquake vulnerability between the ports of Seattle and Tacoma. This initiative was the first in the nation to proactively estimate post-earthquake survivability of a critical transportation corridor. Using HAZUS, analysts generated damage estimates based on 6 earthquake scenarios to identify areas of weakness within the system. HAZUS users can perform similar analyses for flood and hurricane wind hazards. Using the HAZUS flood model, users may perform a number of operations, from determining flood levels to calculating losses from floods of varying magnitudes. The flood model also addresses debris generation and shelter requirements, and can estimate losses based on physical damage to structures, contents, and building interiors. Finally, it allows users to simulate the effects of a disaster and determine the level and type of damage and economic loss people may suffer. In Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, the county tested the HAZUS flood model to establish a baseline of potential flood losses for 24 watersheds. Combining future development projections with the HAZUS flood model's loss estimation capabilities, community officials estimated the economic benefits of implementing new regulations. Within one watershed alone, the county's $140,000 investment has saved more than $54 million in potential structure and content losses. The county has also instituted proactive floodplain management regulations to protect lives and property in the community. The HAZUS Preview Hurricane Model gives users in the Atlantic and Gulf Coast regions the ability to estimate potential damage to residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. It also allows users to estimate economic losses and the amount of building debris. In the future, the model will include the capability to estimate wind effects in island territories, storm surge, indirect economic losses, casualties, and impacts to utility and transportation lifelines. HAZUS also has numerous applications for state and regional emergency preparedness, response planning, and response operation. Shortly after the Nisqually earthquake, the Washington State Office of Emergency Management used HAZUS damage estimates to brief the governor on disaster impacts and to facilitate the disaster declaration process. The California Office of Emergency Services imports ground shaking data into HAZUS within minutes of an earthquake and provides maps of estimated losses to emergency responders. And in New York City, structural engineers used data from a HAZUS building inventory study to screen buildings near Ground Zero after the September 11 attacks on the World Trade Center. With its powerful features, HAZUS can be used to achieve multiple objectives. Information generated using HAZUS can help educate the public about the potential impacts of natural disasters. Government officials and decision makers at all levels are using HAZUS to make informed risk management decisions. Visit the HAZUS website to order HAZUS and to find out about HAZUS activities in your region. HAZUS is available free of charge to state, local, and regional governments as well as businesses throughout the United States. Use HAZUS to help your community plan, prepare, and respond more effectively.